Can you just tell us, and I don't want to sound like this is being voyeuristic, but I want to give people an idea of the hell you went through, so we really are very clear about the kind of abuse you suffered for so many years. Your childhood was totally destroyed. What can you just tell us what some of the things, what the nuns did to you?
I lived on the landing. The landing was a place outside the cell. Every single night. I never knew what I was there for. And she'd say, see you tomorrow night. When the inspectors came, the children she'd leave me alone for a few weeks before the inspector came, because we had to go to 3rd class, 4th class, 5th class, 6th class. We had to sit and put up the hands to answer all the questions. So for about 3 weeks before the inspectors came, I'd stand on the landing and she'd say, see you tomorrow night. She couldn't touch me. For a beating? For slaughtering. It wasn't a beating, it was slaughtering. And after the slaughtering, she chased you into the dormitories. So the children in the dormitories were rattling. And then the babies, and Judge Ryan says very little about the babies. The babies were strapped to potties and their little rectums fell down, and all day long you were shoving up rectums. And the damage that has done, and that's what I'm saying. This is a minuscule, you know. And I remember giving evidence at the commission, and Judge Ryan said to me, now, Mrs. Buckley, you know, do you think you're finished? I said, no. Have you another 10 years? Have you another 20 years? You are not hearing it all. And like what Michael said, being told at the commission, I don't believe a word you're saying. Do you know, the first day I went to that commission, the shock I thought, seeing this, whatever, piece of, I can't describe it. I thought, now I'm going to be able to talk. Do you know what happened to me?
You're referring to the nun now, are you? Who's known as Sister Alida in the report.
Yes.
This absolute sadist.
Yes.
Who beat you every day.
When I saw her, I thought, this is it. I couldn't talk. The first day at the commission, who did this? I don't know. I was now that child again. This, whatever. She was the age. I went totally back. By the end of the evening, I was in such a state. I had to go for emergency counselling. I had to come back 2 days later. For 2 days I vomited, and all I could have at home was tea. And every time I sipped it, I vomited. And then started wetting the bed. And the shock of seeing this.
You must remember, and I'd like the people of Ireland to know this, you were a baby, a child at that time. A child that they were battering and beating all around the place, as they've done in every institution, not just one. Every institution. And you spoke about the commission. There were 6 barristers at the commission when I spent 5 days. On the way home, I threatened to commit suicide. Only my wife was sitting in the car, I would have killed myself.
Now, when the doctors who came, you know, they're responsible. Dr. Stephen's Hospital are responsible. And all of the other hospitals where children were constantly going. And this is only when you had severe injuries. And again, the media paraded a doctor out stating that my injury to my leg was a congenital defect. He was paraded into the commission. And guess what? It was discovered, he wasn't even in Dr. Stephen's Hospital. And that man had stated publicly that this kind of an injury wouldn't happen in Goldenbridge. If it had happened, I would have been kept in hospital.
Okay, we only have a few more minutes left, and I want to go back to both John Kelly and Michael O'Brien. Michael, you spent 8 years in this horrific hell.
That's right.
With some of your brothers.
Yes.
What happened to your other brothers and sisters? Were they abused in the same way?
Yes, but I only found out since this thing started that it did happen. I had an idea because I seen my brother Eamon one day coming from the laundry, and he went in like that into a corner, went into a kind of a ball in a corner, and I went over and hugged him, and Tom, my other brother, went over and we lifted him up and kind of hugged him. I knew, I can't say I knew because I didn't know. When I was first sexually abused, I didn't know what was happening. We didn't know. I was 19 years of age, before I kissed the girl. And that's true. No, we knew nothing at that time.
I just want to say something here about that redress board
Kelly,
for 1 minute.
Yes.
Now, this will tell you about the redress board. This report came out on Wednesday. Shocking. The behaviour of the Commission was absolutely shocking. They should have had counsellors there. They should have invited the survivors in. Now, I want to talk. I just want to say one thing about this Commission, or about this redress board.
Because I want to bring in John Kelly. Yes.
This redress board sent a letter to my solicitor on Tuesday. They knew this report was coming out on Wednesday. They've ordered my solicitor to appear tomorrow to ask, why are my documentations not ready?
Okay.
This is to silence me.
Okay, nobody will silence you now, Christine Buckley. We all have an obligation to make sure that never again will this happen, but never again can we forget what happened to you. John Kelly.
I suppose I could sum up in one night what happened to me for a lot of victims, in the sense that when I got flogged, and I was naked now, after the second lash, you would beg, you'd do anything for mercy. You would sell anybody, believe it or not. I was screaming for my mother and father this night, right? Now, my mother and father, I blame my mother and father for years because they went down my urinade. Now, I lost my religion that night. I begged God to save me. He failed me in my urinade. Now, that will give you the idea. I tried to sell my body to them. What, they already had that. So what I'm saying is, you were nothing. You had nothing left to bargain with. And yet you were flogged. So you were dehumanised, and that's what we were, dehumanised in this system.
Michael O'Brien, just finally back to you. You actually met the man who raped you years later.
No, I didn't meet the man. I met the man that beat me for an hour.
Was beating you?
For an hour. He was sitting alongside me at the tribunal. And not alone that, but for spite, he sat alongside me when Mary and I were having, that's my wife, by the way, Mary and I were having a cup of tea in remember the little cafe was below, it was a brewery or something, it was held in over there.
Well, they had big meals.
But there were 7 barristers there. The Brosminians brought a very, very old man back from Rome to tell me I was lying.